So my grandmother sent me and my husband for Christmas this beautiful beef medallion steaks. So I've decided to cook them today. And we're going to make a beef medallions in a mushroom pan sauce. So the first thing I did was heat up my pan on high heat. And I'm going to drop in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And while that heats up, I'm going to lightly season the beef. I have it over here. I'm just going to use a little bit of salt. Just a pinch, and a little bit of pepper. And then we're going to sear these off in our pot. We're going to cook them for about 2 minutes on each side. And then I'm going to transfer some of them to this pan. That'll be the pan of well-done steaks for my husband and son. And I'm going to transfer some to that plate because those will be the medium rare steaks for me. So, see how that beautiful brown caramelization? That's exactly what you want when you flip it over. We'll let them sear for just a little bit longer, then we'll transfer them to our pan. I'm going to pop these in the oven, and then we're going to reduce this to medium and come back and start on our mushrooms. Okay, so we have our pan is down to medium heat. I'm now going to add some mushrooms. I like whole mushrooms, but the rest of the family doesn't. So I've got whole mushrooms in here for me, or thick sliced mushrooms, let's put it that way. And then I've got these minced mushrooms for the rest of the family. That. I have 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and we're going to let these mushrooms cook for about 10 minutes or until they're brown. Stir it all together. And you can come back and periodically stir if you want, or you can just leave it be to cook for the next 10 minutes. So our mushrooms are this beautiful brown color. Now I'm going to add a cup of tomato sauce. This is just a jar of tomato sauce. And then I'm going to stir, and we're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes, or until the sauce thickens a little. Because right now it's separated between the oil and that tomato sauce. We want it to be a little thicker. So our sauce is thickened up quite a bit. Now we are going to add some marsala wine. I have 2/3 of a cup of cooking wine. And we're just going to stir that in. Part of this is to flavor the sauce, and another part is because wine helps to get the those bits and pieces that are stuck on the bottom of the pan. It's called deglazing. So we're going to make sure we get all those pieces unstuck with our marsala wine. And then we get to add 2 cups of chicken broth. And I'm going to put this on high heat, medium high. It's about a 7. And I'm going to let this come to a boil and then boil for about 5 minutes. What that's going to do is help the sauce reduce, because you see how it's liquidy and like a soup. We want it to be more of a sauce, so thicker. It's going to reduce by about half in the next 5 minutes while we let it cook. So I have a minor correction to make. Earlier when I was reducing the sauce, you need to bring it to a boil and then let it boil for 5 minutes. I set the timer, I walked away, I came back, I realized that it wasn't reduced enough, so I set another 5 minutes, and then we came back. So our pan sauce has been reduced. Now I'm going to take those steaks that I put in the oven. They were at 350 for the last 25 minutes. I'm going to pull them out and let them soak in that sauce and soak up some of the flavor and cook a little bit longer. And I'm also going to put the ones that are mine, that are going to be cooked a lot less. I'm just going to put them on different sides of the pan, that way we can tell the difference. And then I'm going to reduce the temperature of this down to about a 2 and let them sit for another 10 minutes, soak up all the juices, cook a little more, and then we'll be ready to eat. So our medallions have been cooking in our sauce for about 10 minutes. Our last step is I have 3 tablespoons of cold butter that I've cubed, and I'm just going to add it in and let it melt in and just give the sauce a bit of a richer flavor. And I have a 1.5 teaspoons of oregano. I'm just going to sprinkle over the top and stir in. You can use fresh oregano. I've chosen to use dried oregano, so it's 1.5 teaspoons. If you're using fresh, you need about 3 to 4 teaspoons. And as soon as the butter melts, we'll be ready to serve.